Under Department of Justice guidelines, the Attorney General, quote, will appoint a special counsel when he or she determines that criminal investigation of a person or matter is warranted and that investigation or prosecution would present a conflict of interest for the department or other extraordinary circumstances. Notice the word will at the beginning. Not can or should, will. Aren't both of these just that case? And what's weird is that many on the left have been questioning appointing a special counsel for Trump as well because it could justify one for Hunter Biden.
I don't think that a special counsel was needed. And Merrick Garland says, well, there's a conflict of interest. If that's true, that means there's a special counsel needed for all kinds of stuff, including the Hunter Biden investigation. That just, to me, doesn't make sense.
It does set a bad precedent for going forward. And yes, it would mean, theoretically, that every political investigation, anything that involves a politician or a politician's relative, requires a special counsel. And then what's the point of the Department of Justice?
I would flip that and say if the Trump and Hunter Biden investigations don't justify a special counsel, then what does? What if Hunter Biden isn't charged? I mean, this investigation's been going on for 3 years. Last month, the Washington Post reported that U.S. Attorney Weiss was still weighing whether to charge the president's son after, quote, federal agents investigating President Biden's son Hunter have gathered what they believe is sufficient evidence to charge him with tax crimes and a false statement related to a gun purchase. But they haven't done it. Wouldn't it be better for the Bidens and their supporters if they could say the prosecutor who made the decision had the quasi-independent authority of a special counsel? What is the downside? Joining me, someone who I think disagrees with me, is former federal prosecutor Michael McAuliffe, who wrote this opinion piece for the Sun Sentinel. Special counsels don't need to be so special. Michael, welcome to the show. Appreciate it. All right, so what am I getting wrong here? What's the problem with appointing a special counsel for Hunter Biden?
Well, as you noted, the U.S. Attorney in Delaware, David Weiss, is 3 years into an investigation and may well be near a charging decision. So to take him and remove him from that process of leading a team of prosecutors and agents just when the issues are ripening may actually hurt the process, not help it.
But wait, but why not give him the special counsel status? This is what those Republican senators were asking for. They were saying just afford him, now keep him there, just afford him the same powers, the same autonomy as a special counsel would have, and move forward from there. What's the matter with that?
Well, the internal special counsel, the regulations, not the statute, but the regulations require an appointment outside of the department. So bringing somebody in. So, Lady Liberty will not keel over if Mr. Weiss is afforded additional protections. But most of the chorus crying foul is from a particular contingent that has politicized the investigation. As you know, or most of your viewers know, the information and news cycle has been mostly from the right, trying to create this this current to appoint a special counsel or give these protections. And there's no evidence that the investigation is not proceeding exactly as it should under normal DOJ policies and regulations.
But you could make the same argument about the Trump investigations. I mean, look, it's true that there's nothing to suggest that it's a problem. It's also true, as I pointed out, that there are many on the right who are trying to deflect from Trump. But here we kind of play it straight, right? Here, I'm telling you, I think it was a good idea for the special counsel to be appointed in the Trump investigations. I take the Trump investigations very seriously. But I also think that using the same reasoning for an investigation that's already started, an investigation that's already underway, an investigation that is already, wherever it is in the process, they've decided special counsel needed there. I just don't get, particularly when you look at the words of the special counsel statute, and in an effort to give people more faith, why not just say, yeah, okay, we're going to give this prosecutor these special counsel powers?
Well, I think that Mr. Weiss has, he's a holdover from the Trump administration. He has all the powers of a U.S. attorney. A special counsel doesn't have any special protections in terms of following DOJ policies and procedures.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your cable provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.